Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
We've been warned, and it seems that they are here. Our meteorologist said earlier today that funnel clouds would be possible, and she said there was one that was recently just spotted in the metro. So we want to go right away now at noon to First Alert Storm Team meteorologist Lisa Green with what we need to know. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, good afternoon. Here's the good news. It's since dissipated, but the potential is still there for any of these cells that are developing for us to see a funnel at any given moment. Now, keep in mind, these are those weak funnels we had yesterday. Most of them don't reach the ground, but definitely want to make sure we're alerted to this. So this is around 11:30. We saw starting to see a little bit of appendage from our sky cam here in Fargo. This is looking northward toward a cell that was developing near Harwood. So I'm going to put this into motion, and you can see that little guy just kind of dangling there, and I zoomed in a little bit more. And then it just kind of dissipated after that, and we've had since cleared out. I've been keeping an eye on things though here around the FM metro and elsewhere too. And here's a look at the radar right now. Anywhere you see even a little cell, the way these things tend to develop, it's right as they're developing, as they're quickly starting to build, when we see that stretching happen, that vertical stretching, and then just the general spin in the atmosphere creates these funnels. And so early on in these showers and storms is when we expect them. So there's one west of West Fargo and Horace there that you could see is looking a little bit more substantial, stretching down toward Kindred as well. That cell in Fargo or north of Fargo has since weakened a bit, but still producing some rain. And then there's more to the north. So this is an issue that may be for us throughout the valley as we head into the afternoon hours. You can see a couple of those cells popping up along Highway 59 there, Highway 2 in northwest Minnesota. We've had another report down in Ashby earlier this morning there, a funnel cloud that was reported by law enforcement. So two now, one that was seen by law enforcement and one that we spotted right here at Valley News Live. I'm keeping an eye on the skies for you. This is a live view right now out west at that cell I was just mentioning on the radar. So I'm going to continue to watch that for you. If I have anything new to pass along, we'll let you know. And if you've got some information to pass along, we'd really appreciate hearing from you. These don't tend to show up on radar all that well. So we really rely on our viewers for that. Of course, we want you to do that safely though. So let us know, and we'll of course be keeping you updated throughout the rest of the afternoon.
All right, Lisa, keeping us informed. Thank you very much. New at noon, the West Fargo school districts hope to have a final reentry plan for the school by August 10th. Today, the superintendent says a committee is meeting on the 23rd and the 30th of this month to make some plans, and they have to have an overview for parents by July 28th. On that day, parents will be able to go over it and give their feedback. Now, we have more on when those meetings are on the VNL News app. Also new at noon, a Driscoll, North Dakota man is facing charges for going into a dead man's home and stealing. Court documents say 61-year-old Russell Metzner went into a deceased man's home in Lincoln and took a lawnmower, batteries, and a bag full of prescription medication. He's now charged with burglary. Authorities say Metzner is related to the man who died, but they didn't specify how. A reminder to check the weather and make sure you have a life jacket on after a man was thrown from his boat when storms went over a lake. Authorities say it happened on Friday on Cass Lake in Minnesota. A 41-year-old man from Bemidji was with a buddy and on the boat and tried to get back to shore when high winds and heavy rain hit. The man was from Bemidji, was thrown from the boat, and the passenger took over and tried to search for his friend. Eventually, authorities were called to search the lake, and they say they found the man 1.5 miles from where he was thrown. That man was not seriously hurt. Minnesota lawmakers have banned police from using neck restraints. The ban is part of a package of police accountability measures passed in response to the death of George Floyd and the ensuing protest. The sweeping package also bans chokeholds and so-called warrior-style training for officers. Passage of the measure comes after nearly 2 months of negotiations that followed Floyd's death in May. The legislation also improves data collection around deadly force encounters and creates a new state unit to investigate those cases. The state of Minnesota is reporting 352 new COVID-19 cases in the state. There are currently 4,398 active cases. 3 new deaths have been reported, bringing the total to 1,548. 41,511 people have recovered. North Dakota is confirming another 82 cases of COVID-19 in the state, along with 1 more death. The death toll in the state now sits at 94. The new death is a woman in her 90s from Cass County with underlying health conditions. In total, there are now 814 active cases of COVID-19. 46 people are in the hospital, while 4,319 are listed as recovered. If you're planning on traveling through the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, you're going to be required to wear a face mask. The new requirement takes effect next Monday and applies to all public spaces at the airport, including the outdoors. There are exceptions for people who cannot wear a mask for health, safety, or disability, and for eating and drinking. Children 2 years and younger or unaccompanied minors 12 or younger are also excluded. Free face coverings are available at the airport. A new government study suggests that most people have not been exposed to the coronavirus. CDC researchers analyzed blood samples from over 16,000 people. They found between 1% and 6% had COVID antibodies at the time. The scientists say the study's findings suggest the U.S. is far from achieving herd immunity, which is 60 to 70%. We are now learning more about the man suspected of shooting and killing a federal judge's son and injuring her husband over the weekend in New Jersey, including that he was a self-proclaimed anti-feminist. Laura Podesta has the latest on this investigation.
Roy Denhollander was found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound yesterday, one day after ambushing a federal judge's home in New Jersey, killing Esther Salas's son and injuring her husband, according to investigators.
Kind of horrified, I never think it could happen in my neighborhood. Because usually it was very quiet.
While motive is still not known, Denhollander was previously the attorney in a gender equity case being heard by Salas, in which he challenged the male-only military draft. He also ridiculed Judge Salas in writings posted online, saying she traded on her Hispanic heritage to get ahead.
Ladies' Night is violating a fundamental right.
The self-proclaimed anti-feminist had appeared on Fox News and Comedy Central for other lawsuits challenging perceived infringements of men's rights. Police say he was found dead in his car, roughly 130 miles from the judge's home. Investigators say Denhollander was found wearing a FedEx uniform, which he used to pose as a delivery driver. Police say he shot the judge's husband, defense attorney Mark Andrel, as he answered the door. The judge's 20-year-old son, Daniel, was also shot and killed. He was a student at the Catholic University of America in D.C., where he'd been named to the dean's list this spring.
Whole life ahead of him. He has 2 more years up to college, and it was cool to see what he can do,
Lord, we pray for all who mourn for Daniel.
Hundreds took part in a virtual church service last night in Daniel's memory. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Judge Salas, who was not injured, is presiding over a lawsuit in which Deutsche Bank investors assert the bank made false statements about its anti-money laundering policies and didn't keep tabs on high-risk customers like Jeffrey Epstein. Coming up here at noon, as we mentioned at the top of the show, many parents are wondering how school will look this fall, and one Utah school has a plan that could be a guide. We take a look at that. But next, Lisa Green is in as she continues to watch for funnels that could be forming in the Red River Valley today.